My nose will not stop running. Is it COVID? Is it the flu? Is it allergies? I guess we'll see. Good afternoon, demigods. Today I have for you a story time of something that happened to me and my roommates not that long ago. It was actually Valentine's weekend, like Valentine's Day weekend. So let's just start with like the preface of it. A few weeks back, one of my roommates made reservations for us at this place called STK. I go to dinner and steak. And I think Beverly Hills or somewhere in that area. It was booked for Valentine's Day weekend so we could have like a little friendly Valentine's outing for dinner. So we got all dolled up. Here's some pictures. This is going to be kind of like a 2-part story time and like a rant plus a story time because the main point happened after the dinner, but I'm just going to talk to you about the dinner. So we got to the dinner at like 7:50-ish, 7:55, and our reservation was at 8. There was a line to check in for reservations. So you know how you go to a restaurant and you don't make a reservation, they're like, oh, it'll be a 30-minute hour wait. So there's like a line to wait for people who don't have reservations. There was a line to wait for people who did have reservations. So we literally got there at 8. We did not get sat until 10. Hold up. To eat our food, even though we had a reservation at 8 because it was the Super Bowl weekend and the Super Bowl was in LA. So a lot of the Super Bowl people were staying at the W and the STK restaurant we went to was at the W. So there was a lot of football players there. There was like an event going on. And then like the restaurant area kind of doubled as like a lounge clubbing type area. So there was just a lot going on in that space when we wanted to go to dinner there. So we didn't get sat until 2 hours after our reservation. And there was like a long ass line, but whatever, what have you. They let us wait at the bar at like 9-ish. So we waited at the bar for about an hour before we got sat, and they gave us like free drinks and stuff to make up for the bullshit that they had us going through. And then we ate the food. It was really good. Yada, yada, yada. It was very expensive and we didn't even get that much stuff, but all that is besides the point. So after we wait for 2+ hours to eat, then leave, we drive back. And this is where it gets scary. So as we're driving back, the roads are kind of empty-ish because by the time we left, it was like 11:30 midnight. So the streets were empty, kind of. This man in this big car starts to follow us. And one of my roommates who's driving starts to notice. She just kind of doesn't make anything of it. She's like, making comments about it. She's like, this car's been following us for like the past few blocks or whatever. And we were just like, okay, whatever. But then out of nowhere, he starts like doing weird shit. So he's driving, like trying to tailgate us. He's like this much behind us. He starts, tries to like get to the side of us to like do whatever, tries to get our attention. And then he starts yelling out his window like, yada, 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 blah, 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 blah. He like throws stuff at our car, like paper, receipts, whatever he can find. And he's doing all of this like while we're trying to drive home, like driving to see us, driving in front of us, driving behind us, throwing stuff at us, yelling. First of all, I didn't even notice. I was on my phone, but one of my friends, the one who was driving, was like explaining it to us, and I had not noticed any of it. And she was like, well, he's been doing this and that, just what I explained to you guys. And I hadn't noticed any of it, so I started looking behind and started noticing that he was doing it. And then we got to a red light, and then he drove up and was right beside us, and he put his window down and was yelling, and we weren't going to put the window down to see what he was saying, but he was saying something along the lines of, your tail lights aren't working, let down the window, just trying to do anything to make us let down the window to communicate with him. And none of us wanted to let down the window. The light turns green. We all go. There's not that many cars, keep in mind. So he decides to speed up in front of us, and there's about 3 lanes. He speeds up. He's like, in this lane, we're in this lane. He speeds up, goes like in the middle of the 2 lanes, and stops abruptly. So at this point, one of my friends calls the police. Because we're in LA, this is not an area that any of us are very familiar with just yet. So one of them calls the police and explains to the police what's going on. And as he stopped in front of us, he didn't get out the car. He did not get out the car. He put down his window and half his body was like out the window thing and was yelling at us saying like, your taillights aren't working, blah, blah, blah. And we just wouldn't let down the window because we didn't know what was going on. And he was just screaming, like yelling, cursing, doing all that stuff in front of us. And mind you, about 2 cars passed us and didn't even try to stop to help us. One of my friends is still on the phone with the police, explaining the entire situation to them. I took a picture of his car tag. We did all of that while he was still like yelling, stopped in front of us. And we couldn't go. We couldn't like swerve another way because we were like too close to him. So we would have had to reverse and then like try to get in front of him. But that would have gave him too much time to like because he didn't get out the car. That would have gave him too much time to like just get inside the car from the window and like continue to be in front of us and probably stop again. So we did not try to get in front of him. Out of nowhere, he just stopped yelling. He was like, F this, da 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 da, gets back in the car and starts driving again. So we start driving again thinking that, okay, hopefully he's done. Hopefully this is over. And he continues to kind of like ride on the side of us, but a lot more calmly now. He's done yelling, the windows up, but he's still kind of like following us, staying in the same vicinity as us. We're pretty close to home at this point, so we decide to kind of like take some random turns before we get home. And now it's kind of like this like slow speed car chase because we're just trying to lose his tail because he's still like by the side of us. When we get in like a 1 lane kind of street, he's like behind us and it's in the middle of the night. It's like midnight. And like my heart's pounding. My friends are super worried. One of them still on the phone with the police explaining everything that's going on. There's a lot of swervy roads in California. So we're just like swerving on all these roads and he's following us. And it's just very scary. But we get to a point where we lose him. We get to a road and we've turned enough corners and we look behind us and he's not there anymore. So at that point, we're like 1 or 2 miles away from home. So we just head home, make sure that he's not behind us. Our apartment's pretty secure, so we just head home. And then we start doing research. I search up his car tag. My friend's off the phone with the police by now. They haven't heard any like reports of a man doing all this. And we were just like kind of conversing about it, just explaining to ourselves like he was clearly tweaking, like something was going on like in his mind. And it was really scary, but we start all doing research of like a man in Los Angeles, California who's like following people and stuff. And we find a few things. We find a few things about a man who's been kind of like following people on the road for the past few days. Not on any like Jack the Ripper type, but like he hasn't really been harming anyone, just kind of like following them, harassing them, doing stuff like what he was doing to us on the road at night. And I get really scared because it's like, well, what if he is like a murderer or something? Because you never know. But as far as like him kind of like following us inside or anything like that, he did not do that. And everything just is kind of been resolved or unresolved, I guess you can say. This happened about 4 or 5 days ago, so we're still kind of like researching stuff. The police haven't contacted us again, luckily, and he hasn't shown any signs or traces of following us back here. We don't know if he was able to follow us just without us seeing, and he may know where we live or something. But yeah, the food at STK was delicious though. I go to dinner and steak. That's about it for my scary stalker being followed on the road story time. I hope you guys enjoyed it. A lot of crazy things have happened to me since I've been in Los Angeles, California. for about a month now. And I have a few more story times lined up that I'm going to be telling you guys. And comment down below what other video ideas you want, because I feel like I'm in LA and I'm doing the same kind of content that I always do. So if you guys have any suggestions, let me know. But until then, I hope you have a great rest of your day, night, or whatever time you're watching this. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.